Favorite revenge? My favorite revenge? As I sit here, I must admit that this is at least in my top 5 most satisfying moments of vengeance. After reading someone else's trivial revenge story about an irate neighbor and a lawn from the 1990s, I was reminded of a stunt I pulled, also in the 1990s, and also involving a neighbor and lawn, amusingly enough. My neighbor at my childhood home was absolutely obsessed with her lawn. Whenever she would discover dog feces on it, she would call animal control and falsely accuse my family without any investigation or evidence. Literally, everyone on the street had a dog, but she would consistently blame us for it. It was extremely obnoxious. Our other neighbor, who was friendly with both my family and the lawn witch, came and apologized to us. She informed us that it was her own dog who was responsible for the mess, and even told the lawn witch the truth and offered to clean up after her pet, but the lawn witch refused to accept this explanation and continued to harass us. One day I returned home from work, and my brother was hiding in our bushes at night, concealed by the darkness. He was thrilled when I noticed him. He had just purchased a laser light pen, which was the latest innovation at the time, and he was directing it through the lawn witch's window. It was summer, all her windows were open so you could hear her shrill voice yelling, "What is that little red light?" Imagine Rosenbar shouting angrily at someone with utmost intensity. That is how it sounded. My brother and I were crying from laughter. His 15-year-old mind hoped they would think it was a scope light. Nothing came of this incident other than a good laugh. However, then there was another situation in which I am accountable for. Although I am unsure if it occurred during the same summer, I believe it might have. I went out with my boyfriend and a couple of his friends. When they brought me back home, my boyfriend's friend decided he needed to take care of business and was about to relieve himself on my lawn. I told him to leave my property immediately, and that if he had to go, he could do so on the lawn witch's lawn, and perhaps the ammonia would kill her grass. Instead, he chose to urinate in her curbside mailbox. It did not require him to stand on her precious grass. She has a curbside mailbox. Can you even envision how it must have smelled during the sweltering summer? She eventually got a new mailbox at a later point in time. I never told my parents about it until many years later, but when I did they were not particularly surprised. They also fondly recalled a short story I wrote in either 4th or 5th grade where the lawn witch was the main character. She was an alien trying to abduct my dog in the narrative. I kept it and I've seen it. Anyway, years later the lawn witch had some sort of medical episode and went into a year-long coma. When she woke up, she was a new person. She was no longer hateful anymore. It was as if she had been rebooted or something. However, her previous 20+ years of harassment do not suddenly change. I don't usually ruin new technology, but doorbell cameras are ruining the petty avengers of the future.